If you're just joining us, my name is Honourable Chris Ekomeme. We have our guest speaker in the house, and she's going to be talking to us for 30 minutes. Then after 30 minutes, the room will be given to everyone to ask your question. The topic of tonight is simple: Nigeria on trial, a miscarriage leadership. When a medical doctor speaks on the topic miscarriage, she will be able to dissect, she'll be able to explain to us properly so that we understand where we are. It's my honor and privilege. A born Nigerian but based in the UK, Dr. Lorenta Oduwere Ogboru Oka. I believe by the time she comes aboard, she will be able to tell us everything she has done in the past. She is a strong, obedient.
Good evening. Thank you very much, everybody. I don't know if we can see me as well. I'm trying to adjust my camera.
Yes, you are visible in your camera right now.
I am. Okay. Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. And Owane Ekomeme. Good evening, sir.
You go pay fine, oh. You'll pay fine. If you don't pronounce my name well.
You forgive me.
If you're not like that, carry and go court.
Yes, sir.
So good evening, everyone. Good evening. It is very, very humbling to be here. And it's amazing the work that we've been doing here in POPSG. The leadership, honestly, when I go and look at the organization, especially the organization and the work that's been done, I'm really, really pleased. I'm going to go straight into my presentation. Although I was checking and somebody was saying, is it okay? I'm going to go straight into my presentation. Sorry, people are actually sending me messages. They want to log into this presentation as well. Without much ado,
why not send them the link? Send them the link. Let them join us. Yeah.
I've sent the link. That's what I was doing.
Let them join.
Okay, sir. Without much ado, I would just say well done to the chairman, Reverend Ambassador Felix Obaze as well, and everybody here present. And I'll be excused as well if my very progressive-minded fathers and brothers here allow me to do a very special shout out to our women who are here as well. Big shout out to the women in the house. And the reason is because it takes strength of character and tenacity of purpose as a woman to actually be in these kind of gatherings and struggles in our cultural climate, in our own social cultural climate in Nigeria. So a big shout out to us. I wanted to share my screen. It says I've been disabled. I'm not able to share it. Is there a
Pastor Steve Oscar, please make her a co-host so that she'll be able to share her screen.
Thank you.
You are now a co-host. Kindly go ahead and share your screen, ma'am.
Thank you, Honourable Chris Ekomeme.
No wahala. Go ahead, ma'am. Good to see you.
Okay, excellent. So let's. Can we see?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it slideshow?
Yes, we can see. Yes.
Excellent. Thank you. So today I'm very happy. I'm collaborating with the Peter Obi Presidential Support Group, and my happiness is the fact that this is the solution to a miscarriage of leadership. These kind of examples is the sort of solution that we need to get to a Nigeria who is currently on trial. And I'm going to trace things back and actually say, why is it that POPSG, Peter Obi Presidential Support Group, picked a Loretta Oduware Ogboroko to come and discuss this subject matter, Nigeria on trial, a miscarriage of leadership? Why? Is it because I have an MROCOG from the United Kingdom, which means I'm a member of the Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, being a consultant gynecologist? I don't think so. It's not, that's not why. Neither is it because I've got an MBBS from the University of Benin or a master's in public health from Edinburgh and another one from Sheffield Hallam University. Or is it because I'm doing a PhD in law and criminology with special emphasis looking at contemporary slavery and human trafficking? It's probably not because I'm a Goodwill Global Ambassador, no, or because I have got these many different awards, both in the medical field, legal fields, teaching field, inspirational field, and all of that, across borders, not just in Nigeria, but spanning Nigeria, spanning other countries. No. Is it because of the many sides of me? I'm happily married to one of Nigeria's best neurosurgeons. You can see Dr. Douglas Chukwuemeka there. This was us just fooling around in the theater in between cases. And then, is it because I'm on front pages of magazines or I'm an Edo princess? No, that's not why. That's not why POPSG has said, come and talk to this. The reason why they have said this and invited me today is because of what I will call the Ubuntu phenomenon. This Ubuntu phenomenon is what looks at our shared humanity. It looks at our critical things that makes us one, more than those things that divides us. Now, what makes us one in Nigeria of today is, especially in these kind of groups, you, B, POPSG, the ones I belong to, they are numerous. Example, Coalition of Nigerians living in the UK, working worldwide. What is that thing that is bringing us together? And the answer is that we are part of a critical mass. A critical mass are those group of people. They are usually very few, but they are the drivers for change. They come together and they all understand that Ubuntu phenomenon, that I am because you all are, and you are because I am, and we each are because each of us is. It sounds like tautology, but it's very simple. You have value for human lives. In this case, we're talking of Nigerian lives. And we must remember that it's only Nigerians that can change Nigeria for Nigerians. Therefore, it is only key that groups like POPSG and other groups like Nigerians living in the UK, the coalition of those in Europe, the coalition of those in America, these critical mass begins to come together to actually push the narrative and amplify the voices of our over 200 million population. It doesn't matter where we are geographically. The world is now a global village. So today, we know that we are talking about Nigeria on trial, the miscarriage of leadership. In my experience as a consultant obstetrician and gynecologist, pregnancy and labor, they are processes. And they are natural processes that you know, at the end of it, everybody is happy. People look forward to it. People are expectant for a baby most times. And if you even look beyond human beings, if you look at plants, you know, when you plant yam, corn, you are looking forward to the time you are going to reap. Actually, we are reaping the children of the plants because, you know, now waiting we plant now, so we won't reap the fruits. And it's the same thing with pregnancy. So we must understand that pregnancy is teamwork. It's not just a one-person phenomenon. It's not only the man, it's not only the woman. It's a team effort. And even in unwanted pregnancies, it's still team effort, over time. So once pregnancy is achieved, and you bear with me, but I'm going to explain the current Nigerian dynamics using what we can all understand. And that's why we are doing this. Once a pregnancy is achieved, once an egg fertilizes a sperm, you say, oh, thank God that I've achieved the pregnancy. But that does not mean that that pregnancy will continue to be viable. There will sometimes be situations where there will be a miscarriage or an abortion of a pregnancy. And what are the differences between miscarriage and an abortion? Sometimes people will say, oh, miscarriage is the normal one that just happens. An abortion is when you go and try and actually stop a pregnancy by yourself. However, there is something common to these two terms, even though they can be used loosely. And that is the fact that something goes wrong and a mere stoppage or the disruption of the viability of that pregnancy is beginning to occur. If that is the case, how do we, or how does nature, or how do we combine with nature to keep pregnancies viable so that we don't have different types of miscarriage? There's one they call missed miscarriage, where the miscarriage has occurred, but the baby is still there, or complete miscarriage, where everything is out, or unsafe abortion, induced abortion, depending on the word you want to use. And that is what is going to bring us to the birthing of a new Nigeria, if we want to superimpose these analogies. So let us visualize, let us imagine that a new Nigeria is the baby. And that new Nigeria is what we want, is that child we want to birth, that child where democracy works, that child where there is the rule of law, that child where you have good roads, you have value for human life, that child where everything seems to be a sort of El Dorado. I know that no government and no countries are perfect, but what we are trying to push for is to at least have some sort of level of succor for the 133 million multidimensionally poor people that we have in Nigeria. Loretta didn't say it. Our National Bureau of Statistics told us that sometimes towards last year. And this is following an extensive review and interpretation of data. So that new Nigeria is the baby we are trying to get. And for many, many years, the bane of the existence of Nigeria, and by extension Africa, has been leadership. How can a nation get pregnant and maintain the viability of that pregnancy and then give birth to a well and alive child who is well? So look at it this way. Since independence in 1960, we've been trying to get pregnant as a country. And not only have we been trying to get pregnant as a country, we are working hard, at least some of us, to try and maintain the viability of this pregnancy so that the pregnancy no go spoil, so that the pregnancy no go miscarry, so that the pregnancy no go abort. And we want to preserve it so that we now deliver a healthy and alive, well child, which is a working democracy, a new Nigeria. But what has been happening? You find that these pregnancy potentials and promises have been scuttled. They have been scuttled by poor leadership, poor performances, and a hydra-headed conglomerate of challenges. So in itself, we have begun, or we we started having as a nation, we started having a state of recurrent miscarriages. Recurrent miscarriages because we have leadership that is rudderless. Leadership that does not understand that leadership is service. Leadership that does not understand the true meaning of leadership. Leadership that only understands rulership, because they are different. Leadership is different from rulership. And this has delayed the Nigerian birthing of germane democracy, an alive and well democracy, a healthy democracy, which is our baby. And that democracy is the hope of a 133 million multidimensionally poor people. So you see why, when I started at the beginning and I said what POPSG is doing today is key, is coming back. Because these are the drivers of the critical mass, and the critical mass we need to coalesce. So this miscarriage of leadership, I am positing today, this evening, that is not just one, but it has become recurrent miscarriages of leadership. And it is delaying Nigeria's birthing of democracy, alive and well, baby. It is delaying it, but it cannot stop it. Because we cannot stop an idea whose time has come. And even as an obstetrician and gynecologist, I've seen some babies who are born with the contraceptive, like the IUCD, held in their hand. Even family planning did not hold them. You see some women, they will bleed and bleed and bleed in pregnancy, but they will still deliver an alive and well and healthy baby. You see some women, they would have had multiple recurrent miscarriages, but at some point they will deliver an alive and well baby. And this is the case for Nigeria. And the time has come for us to begin to put measures in place to stop the recurrence of these miscarriages. And what happened? What happened is that on February 25th, 2023, Nigerians decided that enough of these recurrent miscarriages. Let's do something. And for the second time in our history, people came together. People took the destiny of the country in their hands. They didn't see tribe, they didn't see religion. They defied the odds. They defied poor weather. They defied a miscarriage of the process by a body that was supposed to be independent. The INEC in Nigeria, the Independent Electoral Commission. In medicine, they will tell you that there are certain things that can predispose a woman to miscarriage. And in Nigeria, the things that have predisposed us to the recurrent miscarriages of leadership and the truncation and birthing of our democracy are things like corruption, non-functional government institutions, a thwarting of processes, raising of strong men and women instead of strong institutions, poorly operative judiciary systems, and a total dysfunction across board of all our systems, from health, education, security, infrastructure, production, everything. But Nigerians showed on the 25th of February that they are determined to stop all of these. And how did they show it? They went massively to the polls. People came with their water. People came with their torchlight. People counted. People stayed. People said, no, this miscarriage of leadership must stop. We must take our destiny into our own hands. However, what happened? Our mandate was stolen. But I want to tell us today that a mandate stolen is not necessarily a mandate lost. Our mandate for democracy will be delivered. And how will it be delivered? It will be delivered when we persist, when we know that it is a marathon and not a sprint. That is when it will be delivered. I'm going to tell us today that having reflected in my work with the Labour Party, with obedience, some of us may not know it, but I was responsible for the drawing up of the health policy in our Obidati Labour Party campaign. I led the policy for health review. So the manifesto for Obidati Labour Party, we, my team and I, drew up the health policy part of it. The Teletron to raise funds, we also came together and worked assiduously at it. We are not stopping. So this miscarriage of leadership, how do we surmount it? Enough of the problems. And I'm going to tell us today that to surmount it, we must begin to acknowledge our intersections and use them. What do I mean by our intersections? We must begin to look at those things that unite us. In my reflection, one thing I have come to find is that there is a lot of division in the obedient family. We work in silos. And today I'm positing that we take the example of POPSG and begin to come together, to coalesce, to crisscross, to intersect, and to consider those things that unite us more than those things that divide us. And how are we going to do this? We are going to do this and we are going to succeed as obedient LP Nigerians if we become more fluid. We need a lot of fluidity of followership to hold leadership accountable. Fluidity of purpose. So nothing stops me from being in contact, and technology has made it easier, with an obedience in Kanu or with one in New York. And we have a template that has worked for us in Germany. And we share it with the people in New York and say, this is how it's going to be. Domesticate it to your side and see what works for you. That is fluidity. And ladies and gentlemen, anybody hearing the sound of my voice, I'm telling us today that to succeed at what we are currently doing now, which is to reverse the miscarriage of leadership and to bet a proper democracy, we must become as fluid as possible. We must coalesce. We must use our intersections. We must flow. We cannot be rigid. We can't work within boxes. We can't do things the same old ways when we are divided and expect new results. We can't stop this miscarriage if we do not come together. It is very important. And where do we start and when do we start? It's now. We start right now. We start first with ourselves. We go to the mirror. We look at ourselves in the mirror. We tell ourselves how we are fearfully and wonderfully made, how we are great Nigerians, irrespective of the state we come from, irrespective of the tribe we come from, how we must see a better society. We tell ourselves that. We raise our self-esteem. And then the next thing, we begin to network. We network because that's our net worth. We work smart. You can work hard and you're not working smart. The next thing is that we must understand that life is not fair, and especially in countries like Nigeria, power is not given. We have to take it. Our principal, His Excellency Peter Gregory Obi, and the team working with him, and every progressive-minded Nigerian has come to understand that power is not given. We must take it. And how do we take it? We must take it within the ambits of the law. We must flow within the ambits of the law. Let me tell us here today that there was an expectation that once the election is lost, Nigerians will take to the streets. And once they take to the streets to demand the stolen mandate and to demand a reversal of the miscarriage of leadership, then there will be forces that will swoop in, arrest the principal, kill as many Nigerians as possible, and declare a state of emergency. But so far, because we understand that we have to work within the ambits of the law, we've been able to confuse these people. Their laid down plans are not working. And most importantly, we now understand how our shared humanity is a true religion. How it doesn't matter if somebody is from Maiduguri or if somebody is from Anyoma in Delta State. We all have the same red blood running through us, and justice and equity has to prevail. We must be able to be empathetic and put ourselves in the position of each other, and that is when we begin to flow. As we flow together, support groups that first of all came up strong, a lot of them are tiring out. And I'm standing here today to say to us that we are the only ones that can reverse this miscarriage of leadership. We as Nigerians. And since this leadership has been truncated but not completely aborted, and since we want to say, oh, now we are taking back what belongs to us, it simply means that we need to magnify the voices. We need to have a bababoom once more. And now, what do? We need to amplify the voices and direct attention onto the Nigerian judiciary. I'm going to use a real-life example about the amplification of the voices using the coalition of Nigerians living in the UK and other places like Europe that we've set up. So people who think that whatever is happening is limited to the borders of Nigeria alone. No, it's not. Whereas non-Nigerians cannot come and change Nigeria for Nigerians, but they can help. They can coalesce with us as well. But we have to blaze the trail. We have to lead the way. So what we are saying is, let us, wherever we are in the world, understand the meaning of amplification, intersections, and flowing together. The examples from Nigerians living in the United Kingdom coalition is simple, and I'm putting it out here today for every other person to see what they can learn from it. We decided to come together as professional groups. What do we have? We have leverage in the society. We will be listened to. But individually, we are not as strong as when we are a group. What did we do? We sat down and we read the UK constitution, at least what we have now. UK does not have a written down constitution, but there are several ways you can find out what happens legally. And then we found out that there were things we had not explored. One of them was how to contact the government of the UK directly. And what did we do? We found out that we could actually write to all the MPs. We wrote and signed all of those letters. We told them what had happened in Nigeria. We told them what was not good. We told them what could have been done better. We told them how we were displeased at how they rushed to congratulate the government select of the day. Some people may think it did not work. It worked. Because before you knew it, the UK started backtracking on what they had said initially. Madam Lang, the High Commissioner in Nigeria, she backtracked. And we made it clear, we put it in open space. We sent over 300 letters. Men and women put their resources and time together. We organized a press conference. We put the communique in different outlets worldwide. What does this do? This amplifies the voice of Nigerians. This amplifies the voice of obedience. What we need is amplification within the ambits of the law. And it is this amplification that now brought us into connection with POPSG. This amplification will bring us into more connection with other people who mean well for Nigeria. This amplification will raise the vavavoom of people who are already getting despondent. And as Nigerians, we have very short memory. We need to find out how we can keep the fire burning. This amplification is utilizing technology at all levels and making information available to different people at different times. And this amplification, more than ever before, is bringing the like minds together so that they can begin to beam the big searchlight on Nigeria's judiciary. Because right now, Nigeria's judiciary is now the midwife that has taken over from the non-independent INEC to deliver this baby and to ensure that there's a reversal of the threatened miscarriage. Leadership is service. It doesn't come early and it doesn't come easy. It is true leadership, not rulership, true leadership. So I am positing today and telling us that, yes, we have been working. Yes, it looks like we're tired, but this is when we should pick up our boots because there is an expectation. Those of us in business who would have come across what they call product life cycle. So see the OB movement as a product and see, because people in the negative, people on the other side, they have strategic thinkers as well. So they're actually plotting and planning and seeing when the product life cycle will expire. And they are pushing the limits, waiting for people to get tired. And again, create another miscarriage of true leadership. But by coalescing, intersecting, and amplification, we now beam the searchlight on the Nigerian judiciary. Things used to, people say, oh, we don't have confidence in the judiciary. We don't have confidence in it because we've never really taxed it. We've never really put it under scrutiny the way it is now. In days gone back, we didn't used to know what was happening, but that has changed. So we must utilize and push the new tools without limits.
Hello, Ma. I wanted to begin to round up the session in the next 7 minutes so that we
I'm almost done.
So that we are going to give room to several questions. All right, yeah. Ma'am, please go ahead.
I'm almost done. That was right on point, sir. I don't exceed my time. And you just came right on point. So when I'm saying a big thank you to everybody who has listened in, and I'm ready to take any questions you want to ask me from any side whatsoever, any side. But before I say the final thing on this presentation, I want us to realize that those people at the helm of the current struggle are also human beings. They have blood in their veins. So there are some days when they may not be in their best selves. And I've heard this, and I'm just addressing this now in the next 1 minute. And people have said, oh, look at the people we are even fighting for. They are not fighting for us. Or they are getting tired themselves. We also are their inspiration. It is two sides of a coin. If we don't give up, they don't give up, and the movement continues. And the labor process and the pregnancy process, the labor process will not come to a halt, and we will better our democracy. Democracy may not be perfect, and freedom may have its difficulties, but never are we going to build a wall around minds to keep our democracy in. And I've just modified the quotation of JFK. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so very much. I want you to leave this very clip on your screen. Please leave it there. Leave it there. I love this. I want you to realize that Dr. Loretta was actually in the forefront of the fight for the liberation of Nigeria. You can see Dr. Loretta is the one beside Dati. He's also beside Charlie Boy. You can see Dr. Loretta with our principal, Dr. Peter B. You can see Dr. Loretta with Aisha Yusuf. She's a fighter of freedom. And you can see the way she's vibrated tonight. We are super excited to have her as our guest. The floor is ours tonight. Ask your question. If you want to ask a question, just lift your hand, and I'm going to give you room to ask your question just in 1 minute. Between now till 35 minutes time, we will be done with questions and answer. All right? Our time starts now. Question, please. Dr. Glenn, I see the way you were excited in the house. You know Dr. Glenn is a medical doctor, also a neurosurgeon. I saw the way he was dropping chat and all of that. Dr. Glenn, can you take over the mic and ask your question from the perspective of a medical doctor? Dr. Glenn is our Cross River State coordinator, a neurosurgeon as well. Dr. Glenn, if you can hear me loud and clear, the mic is yours. For those of us that want to ask your question, please lift your hand and ask your questions.
Well, good evening, all. Many thanks to our guest speaker, Dr. Loretta. Well, I am a chief consultant urologist, not actually a neurologist. Yes, a urologist in Cross River State. I just, it's not a question anyway. I want to thank our guest speaker that she has brought more hope to all of us who are waiting for justice, concerning this matter. I am actually super excited. Many thanks, to her for coming to give more hope, on our waiting for this, our mandate to be delivered. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you so very much. While we're waiting for questions, I see Ate Anthony, Bayelsa State Coordinator. Wow, good to have you in the house. You're welcome tonight. You're welcome about. All right, questions and answer. Talk to us. Ask your question. All right, I see one hand up. Our national/international General Secretary of Peter B. Presidential Support Group, Edda Chris Udo. The mic is yours. Go straight to your question, sir.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Doctor, for the presentation that you've made today. In fact, I love the energy, and I am so happy that you have honored this invitation. What you have said is exactly what we must do. We must keep the energy on. We must fight on. This battle is lost and won, and Peter Obi is the winner.
Amen.
So we'll continue to encourage ourselves, and we'll continue to work as obedient family. Thank you so much. But again, I want to ask this question. Now, I look at possibilities. First possibility, declare Peter Obi as a winner. Second possibility, annul the election and ask for a re-election. And third possibility, give it to Jagaban. Now, under all these possibilities, what should we do, particularly for the second and the third scenario? What should be our plan ahead?
Thank you, my brother, Mr. Chris Udo, for this question. I want to also thank Dr. Glenn. Well done. Shout out to you and the urology team in Port Harcourt, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Our brother, Mr. Udo, I like what you said, that we must fight on. And I like the three possibilities you have posited. Because I was discussing recently with one of the core persons in this struggle as well, Professor Patu Tomi. And we actually had a discussion around certain things that could happen. The first thing is what you said, Obi is declared winner, and we are all happy. But you see, the truth is that that's when work will start. So these three possibilities, I'm going to take them one after the other. If our principal, and when, I like to use when our principal is declared winner today, when that happens, that's when our work will start. Because the opposition is not going to take it lying low, we will need to plug every loophole that they can use. In fact, that's when, if you used to watch all those old Roman wars, all those gladiators, that's when we should form a big shield around this democracy and around the principal and the core team. It becomes a layer, just like onions. Our work starts. The work of this coalition, the work of these intersection, the work of these understanding that we all have to work together, as well as the work of national reconciliation. Because those people who are batified will also be feeling very hurt. Those who were making their livelihood from the current government will feel that they've been deprived of it. So we must begin to work and explain to them that 133 million multidimensionally poor people are more important than people who have needs. People who have wants are not needs. Because wants you can do without them, but needs, basic needs, food, shelter, you can't do without them. So that's one. We don't stop. We now also don't stop in holding the government of the day accountable. So we cannot say that Peter Obi has now won, the team is now in governance, and then all obedience, all support groups will go to sleep. No. That is when we start the work. We must prove to the nations of the world that we have now arrived at a situation where we can proffer justice and equity, that Nigeria is now awake. The dormant giant of Africa is sleeping no more, and by extension, Africa will be on the rise. We will hold them accountable. We will tell them it is business unusual, and the world will begin to learn again from Nigeria. That's the first one. The second one, the election is annulled. Frankly, having spoken to legal experts, that's the least possibility.
Please, why is the doctor is responding to that? I love what she said. We hold them accountable. I want everybody to go to the chat and said we hold them accountable. I love her vibration tonight. Go ahead, Doc. Go ahead, Doc.
Thank you.
Go to the chat box and right there we hold them accountable. That is the reason for this movement. Thank you so much, man. Please go ahead.
We will. So the second is annul the election. With my discussions with legal minds at home and abroad, across borders, I'm also doing a PhD in law and criminology. I think that is sort of the least expected route because it has multi-dimensional ramifications. However, if that were to happen and we're going to rerun the election, it's another reason why the work continues. You are not going to have to convert those people you didn't convert before, those people on your streets, those people that, you know, they were on the fence, those people that you were too tired to talk to before 25th of February. You didn't need to do that. Okay. But, which is now the third option, remains as president. APC remains, which is, well, what we are in now. If this status quo remains, it is still work for us. We must, one, become to be a proper shadow government like exists in the United Kingdom. It's when we must coalesce, because we can't do it as pockets now. We can't do it when we are divided. But when we come together, you have a proper shadow government within the ambit of the law. So when they bring out a policy on education, we will tell them these are the things that make it incomplete. When they bring out a policy and their minister for health is talking, our own shadow minister for health will be telling them, look, you people are jokers. We need primary health care to be enacted. Stop building new structures. Go back to those structures in the villages. Enhance them. Keep the workforce in the villages. We'll tell them, move from production. Move it up. Scale up production. Stop consuming. So, either way you look at these three options, we have work to do. And we can't stop. Those who are saying, oh, there was no need going to court in the first place, are the people who do not understand that power is not the... Nobody come and say, take the power I kept for you. Whether you are going to use it for good or for bad, I've been talking this evening. Nobody go say, come take this power I keep for you. You need to take it. And when you take it, you need to use it as per your moral conscience. What we are seeing today is that people don't have moral consciousness. So these are my postulations for these three scenarios.
All right, thank you so very much, Doc. Before I bring in the next question, there are speculation all over the nation as we speak. Thank God that you are close to Professor Patu Tome. There are speculation everywhere that BAT is going to be bringing Patu Tome on board as one of his ministers. How truth is that? How truthful is that? Doc, if you can hear me, can you unmute your mic?
I can hear you.
You are close to Professor Patu Tome. How true is that?
Well, I want to tell us something. You see, people who, I said it just now, people who are negative, people who don't care, people who are not for what is right, they are also strategists. And one key strategy is to divide the house. You divide and conquer. So what is happening is to divide the obedience. How do you divide the obedience? You go straight for the heart of the matter. How do you go for the heart of the matter? You make one of the core drivers of this movement, this new Nigeria, this big tent, this new face. You make it as if that person is now a dissident. You know the meaning of dissident? That person has moved away. I can tell us today that today, Saturday, the 9th of July, 2020.
Sunday, the 9th of July, Sunday.
Sorry, Sunday, the 9th of July, 2023, that Professor Pat Utomi, as at the last time I checked, is not taking any ministerial posts from any government of this current select. He is not, he will not, it is not what he stands for, it is just propaganda, because they understand, this is what I'm saying, they understand that these recurrent miscarriages can be perpetuated when we are all divided, when we don't understand the meaning of Ubuntu, when we work in silos. So they want to magnify what divides us, distract us, rather than let us have our way and push what unites us. The last time I checked was a few minutes ago. Professor Patu told me he's not taking up any position in this government select. He's strongly for a new Nigeria. And for those who don't know, you see that title of the press conference we held on May 15th? It was his idea. Does democracy matter? We then added Nigerian on trial as the organizing group. So please, this is a rumor from the pit of hell. Thank you.
Like Honourable
All right,
Chris
thank you so very much, Doc.
okay.
If you're just joining us, this is the national. I'm still very much here. If you're just joining us, my name is Honourable Chris Ekomeme, the anchorman for tonight. And this is the national/international Zoom meeting of Peter Obi Presidential Support Group. And we have a guest tonight and the president of Dr. Lorenta. And the topic of tonight is simple. Nigeria on trial in miscarriage leadership. And I want to ask that Barrister Habila, can you unmute yourself and go straight to your question? Your time starts now from Taraba State.
Good evening, Mom. We appreciate your teaching. It's so expository, and we are so excited. We over here in Taraba State, we are so proud of you and the work you are doing. We say a big thank you. Though network throw me out, I don't know if my question has been asked by someone, but actually what I want to ask is, what measure do you think we should take to put the judiciary on their toes? I took reference from the explanation you made in the UK to put the government on of the UK on their toes. So what do you think we over here in Nigeria that we can do to ensure we put the judiciaries on their toes? Though there has been suggestion, we actually want to hear more from you, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, thank you so very much. Doc, can you kindly respond to Habila?
Thank you very much, Habila. Thank you. I'm sending loads of love your way. I will go straight and answer your question. Keeping the judiciary on their toes, what can we do? I want us to break this down into two groups. What we can do are bordering on internal factors or internal measures and external measures. So internal, what does that mean? Within the country is internal, and external is outside of the country, abroad. Now, within the country, you can still break that down into two groups, and that is individual and then groups. Okay? So, individual level, what can we do? I must tell us that the simplest unit of the society is the family. In the family, it's like the cell, the building blocks of the body. That's where everything begins. Are we telling us that as individuals, we are actually discussing these things in our houses and making it obvious, our thought processes to our children, to our mothers, to our brothers and sisters? If we are, very good. If we are not, let's start. If we are, we can do better. We can do more. We don't stop individually. Now, in those same families, our judiciary, they are not spirits, so they reside within us. They reside amongst us. They reside with us. We have some of them as fathers, brothers, and sisters. Are we telling them that, hey, brother, auntie, this Nigeria you want to live for your grandchildren? How na siam? What are you doing in this your court that you are going to? We must begin to call people to order, starting from the youth of the society. That's number one, individuals. Go to the groups. The groups entails our religious and faith houses. It entails our societal groups. It entails the big groups like the NBA, the Nigerian Medical Association. I've not seen them come out to come and say, oh, I've seen NMA come out to come and say, we are doing a press statement. We are non-partisan. We are not on any side. But we are saying that the judiciary must be fair and the judiciary must do its work in a transparent manner. I've not seen NBA come to do it. I've not seen the Association of Okada Riders and the Market Women come to do it. These things can be done. This is how in other crimes, you keep what we call sustained pressure on these people. And start doing it if you're not doing it before. And that is where we also have these support groups to do these things as well. So we don't expect free freedom. Free freedom is not possible. There's a price to pay for freedom. So that's within, internally. Now, externally, we have a huge diaspora. Nigeria has people in Russia, China, even on the moon itself, we have people. And that means that we can begin to use these channels for beam searchlight on the Nigerian judiciary. I'm telling you, when we did our press conference on May the 15th, it was, somebody said, what's the use of all this talk? But when the communique started coming out, and that's another thing, and this is a suggestion I will also give to the Peter Obi Presidential Support Group, if we are not already doing it. For every meeting you hold, let's have a short communique. A short communique come out. And you can decide to choose one newspaper. And I would suggest that some of us who come to speak should donate towards publishing this communique in those newspapers. Because this is how you disseminate the information and you keep the thread running and you point the beam onto the judiciary. If you point the beam properly, there is no hiding place. There's no hiding place for them. So these are some suggestions. I'm able to tell you because we have discussed these things before as well in some meetings that I've been in. So these are some key suggestions that simple, I don't believe in highfalutin, simple low-hanging fruits that we can all do, each and every one of us. Thank you.
All right, thank you so very much. I'm going to ask that barrister, no one Benedict Esquire. Can you unmute yourself and ask your question, sir? Tell us where you're reaching us from, sir, and go straight to your question, sir.
Yeah, good evening, madam. I'm Benedict. I'm no one from Germany. My question is, I've been listening very attentively. I didn't hear you mention Labour Party. It's always been obedient and all that. So I remember vividly after the election, people started coming up with their theories that they're either obedient and not Labour Party oriented. May I ask, are you also very comfortable is Labour Party in your good book? Because I have not heard you mention it in this your discourse for today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I love your question. I love your question, Benedict Amionwani, Esquire. It is going to make me touch on areas that hitherto I haven't touched on because it wasn't the core subject matter of this discourse. But and as someone who is very civilized, I tend to keep to what I am asked. But I think now that you've asked it, I can go to town. You see, I am running for governor of Edo State on the platform of the Labour Party. So I am working hand in hand, and I've always worked hand in hand with the Labour Party. I work with the chairman of Ward 1 in Oregon local government area where I'm voting from and working from. I've worked with Labour Party officials when I went to Otuo to do the Loretta Health Initiative outreach, giving basic health care to the people of Edo State. The Labour Party people there came out, they received us, they actually told the people about the health initiative. I worked with the Labour Party at the state level. I have worked with the Labour Party at the national level. I have worked with the Labour Party at the international level. Same way I worked with the obedient, same way I worked in the big tents, and same way I worked with well-meaning Nigerians. And that has put me in a very, very unique stead. I'm able to crisscross all the groups and I understand the strengths, weaknesses, and traits. And today, I will tell us that we need to harmonize the strengths of both the Labour Party, the obedience, the big tents, and minimize the weaknesses. And one way to do that is for more obedience to actually understand that obedience is not a party vehicle recognized constitutionally in Nigeria. They should learn that they must bring their skills to bear in wherever there are deficiencies in the Labour Party, because the Labour Party is the vehicle. The Labour Party itself as well must also understand that obedience have come with some sort of expectations that also needs to be managed. Expectations of fairness, equity, justice, excellence, track record of capacity, competence, and all of those things. And that there are some traditional and orthodox politicians in the Labour Party, and some now who have become pendulums and are swinging into the Labour Party at will from all sides. And that they must now begin to ask themselves questions. Mama, Papa, Piki, what do we stand for? How do we bring in the ethos of all these obedience, big tenters, well-meaning Nigerians, and merge it in such a way that we are able to minimize the negative influence of orthodox politicians, swinging politicians, and politicians who don't necessarily mean well for the party. They are after their own self-interest. And one sure way to do it, sir, is to invite more obedience, to take an active seat at the Labour Party table, which is what people like me are already doing. I love the Labour Party, but that does not, being a realist, it doesn't mean that I don't know the faults of the Labour Party. I've worked as an obedient, but it doesn't mean that I don't know the shortcomings of the obedience. The obedience must be more accommodating. You don't change people with gra-gra, you change people with love. You change them with engagement. Obedience needs to understand that. I was somewhere with somebody was saying, all those Labour Party people, they're not. I said, no, you don't speak like that. You don't speak like that because that is derogatory. You change people with love. So to sum up, sir, I am very, very much in the trenches with the Labour Party. However, I didn't bring that up initially because that was not the subject of discussion.
In the coming days, by the time you eventually declare your interest, we're going to bring you on a hot seat. You know, today you are lecturing, but we're going to bring you on a hot seat so that you answer questions on what you intend to do.
I'm ready.
All right. Since you said that, you just came up with a very good stuff, that it will be good for us to always publish in the national dailies about our meetings and all of that. We are going to start with you, Your Excellency, in the making.
It's okay, sir. I'm a problem solver.
So you are going to send in your donation that we can, so that we don't just do this meeting locally, we also do it internationally. Because I see that you are a person of great excellence. All right. We have several hands up now.
We'll discuss that after the meeting. I will surely send in my donation and I will expect others to follow suit.
No problem at all. I'll chat with you. And
Honourable Chris, time is running out so that the people can join 3 or 4 questions together at once so that you can answer them at once.
Apostle Oscar, please next time send me a private message when you do that, sir.
Okay,
we are live on YouTube. We are beaming. We are streaming live on YouTube. Next time, send me a private message. We are going to take these 4 questions at the same time, and this is going to be the last question we're going to take. Doc, take a pen and a paper so that you jot all of them. Monday Eguavon, our diaspora coordinator, your time starts now. Just 1 minute. Ask your question.
Yeah, thank you very much. Mine is not a question. I just want to thank my dear sister for all you'll be doing for Edo people. We worked together during 4+4 Togba, and when Governor Obaseki came to Berlin, Germany. What you'll be doing in Edo State as well. Please keep on doing it. We want to see the first woman as a governor of Edo State.
All right, thank you so very much. I'm going to ask that Theodore Araki, ask your question. Your time starts now. Just 1 minute.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Dr. Loretta.
Where are you reaching us from, sir?
Sorry?
Where are you reaching us from, sir?
I am in London.
All right, please go straight to your question, sir. You're welcome, sir.
What are you doing about we have a culture of putting the woman always behind. Do you have any strategy to change that, to bring yourself in the fore so that there will be diversity and equality in the political climate? What are you doing about that? Thank you.
All right, then the next question, Habila, go straight to your question. Please, I don't need more hands lifted. Go straight to your question, Habila.
Yeah, thank you very much. My question to you, Mom, what do you think regarding a suggestion was raised that we can go to the various courts in the various states with Nigerian flag on every court sitting days to show our solidarity for Labour Party and our Excellency Peter Obi in the courts. What is your take on that? To show to the Nigerian people and to the court or the judiciary that Nigerians are in support of His Excellency Peter Obi in court. What do you think about that? What is your take?
All right, thank you so very much. Comrade Kate Ojeraki, United States Coordinator. Go straight to your question, ma'am.
My people, good evening. The question I have is that when our sister become a governor, because the rest governor I've been seeing in those states, they just go to government house. They don't go to the streets to work, because in New York, governor, they do go to streets and work. My sister, when you enter there, can you go to street and work with our people?
All right, thank you so very much. The last question, Edda Chris Udo, your time starts now. Just 1 minute, sir. Yeah. Go straight to your question.
Thank you very much for giving me another opportunity. Ma, this one is a message, or you may comment on it. Now there's 5-letter word that all of us understand and hear. It says a new Nigeria is possible. That 5-letter word may have several expectations or definitions from all of us. Now, why I bring this one up is that since you are closer to our principal and other actors, you should let them begin to prepare who they will put in power, who they will put in positions, because if we say a new Nigerian and you eventually get to the throne and you begin to recirculate the old people, whether from PDP, APC, or from wherever they may come from, it's like putting an old wine into a new bottle.
All right, sir. All right, sir. Your point is well noted, sir.
It's Peter Obi to make sure that we have a new Nigeria.
All right. Thank you so very much, sir. Doc?
Yeah. Sir!
All right. Doc, I want you to respond to all of these questions just in 3 minutes, because our time is fast spent.
I will.
Right.
I will.
Go ahead, man.
I'll start from the 5th one. Sir, I often say that a new Nigeria is not possible. A new Nigeria is upon us. That's what I say. And with respect to the old wine in new bottles, rest assured that the principal and his team have enough new wine to put in new bottles. You see, everywhere he goes across the world, he has met with Nigerians who mean well for Nigeria. And those people are already lined up. Unknown to us, when we were doing the manifesto for Odati Obi Labour Party manifesto, we had teams led by different people who were already being prepped to take up the leadership of some of those industries that they were supervising. So fear not at all, sir. So number 4, I'm going to say, my dear comrade, Iyima Ituowe, street work That's where that is where me, I am I have my optimum strength. When I was growing up, my father told me, Loretta, you have to learn how to dine with kings and eat with paupers. I didn't know what he meant, but now I know. 133 million multidimensionally poor. Edo State, we have our own share of it. So right now, I'm even in the streets. If you search me and follow me now, I am doing blood pressure for people, blood sugar checks, free medication. I've always been in the streets. Mama, when it is time to jump gutter, we will jump it. Governance is too far removed from the people. When I went into Opiaja, tears came out of my eyes. People cannot even do their blood pressure. They are moving about. Blood pressure 240 over 110. So we need governance that is close to the people. We need to reduce the cost of governance, the dichotomy of governance. It should be done. I don't see why I should have a fleet of cars that is over 20 as convoy. When that money can pay WAEC fees for children in schools? No. In the NHS where I currently work as a management staff, do you know that there are days I just go into the hospital disguised? They won't even know it's me. Either I carry mop, they mop the ground, or just joking with them, because that's how you get first-hand information of what's happening. So Mama Kate, we are on the streets.
Thank you so much. Please, I would like you to meet the women, diaspora women too.
He don't do. Complicate. He does not.
Habila. I really like what you said. Going to the courts. You see, I kept saying something. I said within the ambits of the law. And there is nothing wrong in peaceful demonstrations. But we must be prepared to keep it peaceful. That's the challenge. So there's nothing wrong in obedience, going to the streets where the court is, staying there peacefully. You see, this is why we need a harmonization of cultures, what I call cultural integration. You will see us in the UK. We'll go to Parliament Square. We'll hold whatever placard we want to hold. People will stand there, no fight, no quarrel, no breaking of anything. Then you will get the press. They will video the number of people. Imagine if only 5,000 Nigerians went to stand quietly and peacefully in front of the roads that lead to where the court is, that the cases are going on. But the question, my brother Habila, can we maintain peace? Can we stop the opposition from coming to perpetuate anarchy and then saying it is us? If we can do it, then we should do it. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. And that has been the question on the lips of the principal. If he has not told you people, let me tell us now. Can we stop the opposition from using these peaceful demonstrations and turning it sour with their own thugs and saying it is us? So maybe we will save these things as last resort, but I foresee that they will still happen. Nigerians may still like to go to the streets. But let's push the limits of peaceful walks first of all. Then for the Olorogun Digwasa, I want you to know that I'm very, very privileged to have you on this call today. You are a strong and solid obedient. And with respect to your question, what I'm doing about putting women in the forefront in a male-dominated society, I want to actually say that sometimes the conventional wisdom is not what it is. So it is the narrative that people are pushing. If you go to Edo State, I'll use it as a case study because, I mean, that's the state I'm gunning for. And by extension, Nigeria. And that's the state I'm from. We did business with the Portuguese, Potoki, all those many centuries ago. One of our Obas, Oba Ngige, attended university in Portugal and is even adjudged at the time to have married a Portuguese wife. It is this same Edo State that you had India go to war. You have Ide Nokpohu. You have Onwa, that is now River Onwa in the Onwa side. And you have Aneke that gave birth to Ikelebe the first. Strong women. What does that tell us? It tells us that socio-culturally, we've always had respect and a place for women in our history. But where did we lose it is the question. And it is true that we have a largely patriarchal society. But that is not to say we do not respect women. But the part of the problem is that women have not really taken their places at the table. And I'm telling us today that once we begin to take our places at the table, these same supportive men from yesteryear, they are still existing. Progressive-minded fathers, brothers, who will help us to push our progressive-minded agenda.
All right. He's just joining us. That was the voice.
Boy, for his very nice comments.
Okay. If we leave the mic on for Dr. Loretta, you wouldn't want to go because she's gifted and she's such a talented, dynamic leader. One of these days, we're also going to bring her husband aboard. Our husband have to leave UK and Europe behind and came to Nigeria. He told himself he's going to practice in Nigeria. As I speak with you, he's a neurosurgeon. We're going to bring the husband about. Before I bring in the national chairman to help us thank Doc, I'm going to ask that our national/international vice chairperson, Pastor Mrs. Leah, you've seen how dynamic Dr. Loretta was able to talk to us today. Can you just a word from you as a woman and speak on the behalf of all the women of Peter Obi Presidential Support Group and appreciate Dr. Loretta? Pastor Mrs., the mic is yours.
Yeah, first of all, yes. Pastor Mrs. Lillian Arrow here, the VP of POPSG. Dr. Loretta, you've been amazing.
Thank you.
In fact, you're well detailed, highly thoughtful. In fact, it's been an in-depth presentation tonight, and I want to appreciate you immensely.
Thank
you.
This
is awesome. So on behalf of POPSG Women Nationwide, I want to say to you that we're backing you up. We're excited to find a woman so vigorous, dogged, committed, detailed, well knowledgeable. So anytime, any day, POPSG is here for you. We can say that, of surety. So thank you very much for what you have done with us tonight. It's just been a fresh air and it's been exciting. Thank you, Lord. Thank you also for the Ubuntu spirit you mentioned. Indeed, we need to collaborate. We need to work together to see a new Nigeria. Very, very important. And I also want to mention what you use.
Well, am I the only person that cannot hear her? It appears that her network is bad. Can we hear her?
I can hear her, but she's gone. Man.
I can't hear her now.
Okay. Pastor Mrs. She's still okay. It's like her network went bad. All right. I want to announce to us that in the coming weeks, we are going to be bringing in dynamic speakers that are going to be speaking to us. We are already working, we're already strategizing to be bringing different kind of leaders. And I'm going to ask that the national/international chairman, Reverend Ambassador Felix Obaze, can you help us appreciate our guest tonight? And after that, we'll take one last one from our guest, then we call it the night. Reverend Ambassador Felix Obaze, the mic is yours, sir.
Okay, wow. What a great night we have had. Dr. Loretta Oduware, I want to especially appreciate you. You've had a very robust session with us tonight. We enjoy your presentation, and we believe that as obedient family, our path will continue crossing. We in POPSG, when we started this movement over a year ago, about June 3rd to be precise, we told ourselves that we are for a better Nigeria. And if our principal gets on board and becomes the president, that doesn't stop the vision of POPSG. We are to keep on engaging with our principal and indeed with the governance system and structure in Nigeria to ensure that Nigeria just become a country that is livable, just like every other countries in the world. So thank you so very much for what you've done tonight. We appreciate you, we celebrate you. You are a blessing to your generation, and you are a pride to us, Nigeria as a whole. And we believe that some other time when you are needed, you will avail yourself, you will avail us of your wisdom and weight of knowledge. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
All right, before I bring her for one last word, she was such a blessing to us. My name is Honourable Chris Ekomeme, the anchor man for tonight. Like I said when I started, for 1 year plus, I have been on this mic trying to anchor, and by the grace of God, God has helped us. I said at the beginning when we started, when you are doing your event, any occasion, anything, Zoom meetings and all of that, you want us to help you anchor it. We are good at it. Reach out to us, and we are ready to deliver. I'm going to ask that every one of you, once she's done with her last word, you will unmute yourself and shower love on her before we take the closing prayer. Dr. Lorenta Oduere Ogboru, I'm sorry. Can you unmute yourself? One last word from you, man.
Thank you, sir. Honourable Chris Ekomeme. I love your discipline. I mean, it is exemplary. It reminds me of my dad. Your punctuality, everything is on point. I want to say a big thank you to our father in the house, our father Felix Obaze, what you are doing with POSG. Mama Pastor Lillian, if you're still there, big shout out. And Comrade Ogerake, I just love you. You know,
thank you, my love.
Before I read your chat, and you are right, God first in.
Ma, please unmute yourself, please. Please unmute yourself and go ahead, please.
Without God, there is absolutely nothing that one can say, one can do. And I want to thank Osita. I can see in the chat, Chief Aloysius, I don't know if you're here. But just to round up, I want to tell us something. Our shared humanity is the true religion. It's not the number of hours you spend in church or in mosque or for Isango place or how you treat your gate man, how you treat the next person. And this is what Peter Obi has brought to the table. So let us remember it is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It starts in our own home, with our own selves. Let us keep pushing and know that a new Nigeria is upon us. Thank you.
A new Nigeria is upon us. Let us make it count. I'm going to ask that every one of you unmute yourself and blow some kisses on her. Show her some love. Express yourself. Appreciate her. We love you. We appreciate you for coming. I need to hear you talk to her. Show her some love.
Thank you so much.
We love you. We love you. We celebrate you.
Thank you very much.
God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, we are grateful of
Thank you.
Good night and greeting to the family. Greeting to Mama.
All right. Thank you so very much, ma'am, for coming to be A blessing to us.